Ladies and gentlemen, we meet again towards Parashat Vayishlach, and we have a very important message here. We know that in our Jewish life, we have to weigh out different things, and we have to do things with a different balance every time, and we have to really, sometimes it all depends on the fine-tuning of the balance. And Yaakov Avinu in this Pasha is trying to teach us a special balance we have to keep in mind throughout our life, which is coming from the following psukim. Yaakov Avinu has a fight with the messenger of Esav. And it says, Vayavek ish imo ad alot hashachar. Vayavek, what does Vayavek mean? So Rashi tells us, well, it really means to wrestle. They were fighting each other physically. And but he also brings, together with the Ramban strengthens this approach, that the word Vayavek is very similar to Vayachabek, because when they actually do meet, when Yaakov and Esav do meet later in this parsha, it says Vayachabkehu. Vayavek and Vayachabek are very similar words that basically mean the same. That means there is physical contact between two individuals. But Vayavek means that they are meeting in enmity and in hostility, and they're fighting each other physically. And the Vayachabkehu means they're meeting each other and they're hugging each other with love and affection. But it both means an interaction, a physical interaction. And they're very similar. And Yaakov is found by himself. Vayivate Yaakov levado. He's all by his own. What do you mean he's by himself? He's got, at this point, he's got 4 wives. He's got 11 sons, 1 daughter. He's got sheep and cattle. He's got a whole flock. Well, what do you mean he's by himself? Some of the Mepharshim say he was pondering. He was stopping to think. He was trying to work out for himself, what kind of relationship should I have now with Esav? I'm meeting him after all these years. We haven't met for 34 years. So the question is, should we have a Vayavek? Should we have a fight? Or should we have a Vayachabek? Should we embrace each other? And this is, until today, this is a big dilemma we have towards non-Jewish people. Do we go and hug the non-Jewish world, the Esav of this world, or we do fight? Do we have to fight the non-Jewish people in this world? And the truth is, we have to have the right balance. We have to have the right balance, meaning that when Yaakov fought, and he was winning the battle, and this messenger of Esav said, okay, enough, so he stopped. Yaakov didn't continue fighting to the bitter end. He stopped. That means even when we fight in a limited fashion. We fight in a humane way, in a way that we care about the people we're fighting against. That's what the IDF does all the time. On the other hand, when Yaakov came and he hugged Esav, and Esav hugged him, and they cried together when they're so happy to meet. So Esav offers him, you know what, we're so happy to meet. Let's stick together, let's go together. So Yaakov says, sorry, you go ahead, we're going at our own pace, and he does not continue with Esav, which means however friendly and however happy I am to meet you, I don't want to be part of you. So it's a very fine balance here of to what extent do we hug, to what extent do we fight. Everything is in a limited way. Everything has to be balanced out. And Yaakov was already pondering with this idea from the beginning of the Pasha, because in the beginning of the Pasha, he's very afraid. Vayira vayetzelo. He's afraid to be killed, and vayetze, he's afraid to kill. He's afraid to be killed because it's a war. But he's afraid to kill because he loves his brother. It has two sides to it. And therefore he asks from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he says, Hatzileni miyad achi miyad Esav. Save me from my brother who wants to hug me, and save me from my Esav who wants to kill me. And I don't want a full hug from him. I don't want a full-fledged war with him. And so we have to balance things out. I'm saying this with a personal idea in mind. I am a late child to my parents, who are both, who I say they're both survivors from the Second World War. Why do I say they're both survivors? My father grew up in Switzerland. In Switzerland, they enjoyed emancipation, equal rights, financial and social freedom, and therefore they were very wealthy and very well off. But almost all his brothers and sisters assimilated. They were hugged by Esav in such a way that they just left their Judaism. They left their Judaism behind. And I see my father as the spiritual survivor of the Second World War. At the same time, my mother was from Germany, and she lost her parents, brothers and sisters, aunts, uncles, everybody from the family. She's a sole survivor from a very big family, where of course they suffered from labor camps and in death camps, and oppression and persecution, and they suffered from Esav was fighting them. So we have, just in previous generation, we have seen Esav hugging too much and creating assimilation, and Esav, on the other hand, fighting so much, creating incredible death to the Jewish people. And we today, a generation later, a few generations later, I can even say, we have to find what is the right balance. How do we hug the freedom and the financial freedom, the political freedom that we get from the non-Jewish world around us? On the other hand, we don't lose our Jewish identity. At the same time, when we fight them, when we have non-Jewish enemies, we fight them with an iron hand in a silk glove, because we don't want to be over hostile. So this is the balance that we already learned from the days of Yaakov Avinu, that was grappling with the same idea that we have to grapple with today. Shabbat Shalom.